This program is brought to you in association with First National Bank of Botswana.
FNB, how can we help you?
One of the goals for a lot of people is to retire with financial freedom and security through a financially comfortable and stress-free lifestyle. To achieve this, financial advisors will recommend retirement planning as early as possible, as this is the one task that will decide how you will live once you are unable to work or no longer wish to. Sadly, an article on Money Counts, a pan-state financial literacy series, suggests that young people find it extremely challenging to think about retirement planning. This is primarily because they are busy starting careers, families, or settling in new locations. While it can be understandable why the sluggishness to start planning for retirement much early on, every year wasted postponing retirement planning means adding a year depriving oneself the luxury of retiring early and enjoying the golden years of comfort and leisure. CNN Money Online states that one rule of thumb is that you'll need 70% of your pre-retirement yearly salary to live comfortably post-retirement. That might be enough if you've paid off your mortgage and other debts and are in excellent health once you kiss the office goodbye. But as already mentioned, it's not a majority of people who plan for their retirement early enough, so much so that 30% of Botswana retirees live in poverty due to, amongst other things, a lack of regular disposable income, according to a 2013 study by the World Bank. During their working years, people accumulate assets without necessarily setting aside enough cash to live on post-retirement. They then augment this cash flow shortfall by selling off some of their assets. Needless to say, this could be a recipe for disaster, where people can actually find themselves destitute as if they had not worked for literally a third of their lives. While we acknowledge that one standard plan cannot fit everyone because each person has got their own unique situations, there are some standard starting points that will be common across the board. We have invited to this dialogue CEO at Syntonomy, Waithaka Gatumia, who joins us from Kenya via Zoom meetings. Waithaka, thank you so much for coming here on First Issues and affording us your time. We're talking today about retirement planning. And, before we go any further into this conversation, perhaps you could start off first by, telling us when exactly is it the right time for one to start planning for retirement?
The best age to start planning for retirement is age 0. The moment you come out into this world, start planning for when you're going to retire. But you see, the thing is, we need to define retirement so that people understand, because people think it's about stopping working. No, it's having enough financial assets to sustain you as you live your life, whether you work or not. That's what retirement is.
So what could be the key determining factors to consider when one is planning for retirement?
The key to a financially free retirement is income, cash flow. Many times we think it's a home, we think it's land, we think it's many different things. But what actually gives us the financial freedom in retirement is cash flow. That means that you have income earning assets that are giving you the cash to sustain the lifestyle that you want. That is the key. So when you build up your assets, you will want to, as you get closer to retirement, put your assets into income earning assets that will give you the cash flow that allows you to live the lifestyle that you want.
Waithaka, pension funds are one of the safest ways to plan for retirement or to have a form of passive income in your retirement. And sadly, people only have this as their only plan when they're retired. So what could be the risks associated with that?
For most people, you have a disconnect in understanding what your pension will do for you. So we often look at a pension based on what happens in the Western world. So we look at the US, we look at Europe, and we try and say, hey, that's what a pension looks like. But we have to apply what a pension looks like here in Africa. And for most people, Pona, they're not contributing enough as far as their pension is concerned to sustain the life that they want. So I'll give you an example of Kenya here, and especially around East Africa. The problem is most people are contributing maybe maximum 7 to 10% of their current income towards their pension. There is no magic that is going to transform that 7 or 10% into 100% when you retire. So your pension is only going to cater for a small percentage of what you need when you're in retirement. So it's a good cash flow. Please put into your pension. In fact, I'm encouraging people, put more into your pension as you can. But remember that in our current economy across Africa, it will only cater for a small amount of your needs when you retire.
Still speaking on retirement, you were on a local radio station in Kenya, and you were talking about the biggest challenge in retirement for most people is cash flow. Would you please explain what you meant by that?
Many times, and it's come from a traditional background that we have here in Africa. What we used to do, my grandparents, no, probably my great-grandparents, because my grandparents now had moved into now urban living. But my great-grandparents, their retirement plan was to have land and children. Because if you have land, then you can eat off the land and your children will take care of you. And at that time, there were not too many financial needs. You weren't going to a doctor where you have to exchange things for money. You didn't have all the things that we have right now, electricity, running water, taxes, and all those various things. So for them, that was a sufficient retirement plan. So it has gone on in our thinking that if I own a piece of land, you know, like a farm somewhere, that will be sufficient for me to take care of me. And unfortunately, that's proving to be wrong. We're finding a lot of people now retiring into their own homes, onto their own land, but they're still asking for money from family members, especially children. Why? Because they don't have the cash. They don't have the cash flow to live what they need, to go see a doctor, to go and buy what they need from the supermarket, because you can't get everything you need from your farm. To continue with the rest of life, you have weddings, funerals, community events where you contribute cash. You're not going to bring a goat or something like that to those various things. So if we don't have a shift in our thinking and begin to see that we're in a modern world now and you need cash. So another thing that they do, Pona, is they have land, for instance, as their asset. But you see, land is not liquid. It doesn't have cash. And it takes time to get cash out of the land. And once you've sold it, now the cash is not going to be flowing. So we have to begin to think about how we're going to put together income earning assets that will give us the cash flow to live the life that we want.
In Africa, help is what we do. That is why we at FNB are relentlessly driven to provide real help to you, the passionate and courageous, the creators and the optimists. These are the entrepreneurs we support, the communities we uplift. It is because of you that real help is what we do. FNB, how can we help you?